Ta-da!
Live on the internet.
Hello, live stream.
Hello, live
live
stream.
stream.
Welcome to our loading screen.
This had better be good. Get Sweeney says we promise nothing and deliver nothing.
From Australia. We are practicing our New Zealand accents.
Oh God, I wasn't. I'd just like to
off-air.
point that out.
It's different from the Australian accent, though. So far, there's no viewers according to this, though. So we're wasting gold right now.
Is it gold? Is it? Is it gold?
Wasting gold. Do I have to hit refresh on this YouTube page? I keep forgetting if I have to do that or not. I'm gonna do it.
I don't know. I'm blowing it up. It still says waiting on. Oh, there we go.
There it is. Right there.
Yeah, it was still said waiting on the YouTube.
Live there now. Live. Hello, live stream. Filling up there.
Hello, live stream.
Welcome to our scrolling thing. We got an email that says now live on your YouTube page. It's 2 a.m. here in Oz. Don't know if you heard Jed, but we were practicing our New Zealand accents, not our Australian accents. Hey there, Katie Beth. Little net
Hey,
heads.
Katie Beth. The Jody Dolly says hi.
Well, let's have. Oh, I haven't created things. I'm unprepared for this live stream.
You are. It's excuse of an embarrassment.
Well, because the Oilers played last night as well, immediately after the Doctor Who episode went, and so I feel like I'm kind of unprepared because we won last night, by the way.
So you were
Did you
drunk
get rip roaring
as a skunk.
drunk?
No, I didn't, Chris. I went there. I went to the watch party. I had my large Diet Pepsi.
Oh, living
and-
crazy.
I know.
Just living on the edge.
That I got for
This is a
50% off because I
non-Bon Jovi
work
zone.
there, and then I watched.
Aerosmith.
I felt weirdly confident last night about the Oilers game, and which is different.
Well, I looked. Came home from work, and it was about 7:30 when I got home. I looked at the score. I'm like, oh, 2-0. That's awesome. Don't blow it like last time.
Yeah, they're getting
They
better at
didn't.
that. They're getting
They
better.
didn't.
They are getting better all the time. Couldn't
I
get
was
much
waiting for
worse.
that. I was waiting for that.
Released this day, I think, June 1st, 1967, I think, is when Sgt. Pepper's came out. Someone else can correct me on that. If
Yeah, I was gonna say your record with dates of late is somewhat shaky, so I'm gonna need a second source.
Hey,
Although-
we are officially
happy-
2 weeks officially from the actual Magna Carta Day.
Are we though?
Yeah,
But
we
it-
are.
but it-
Legit.
But,
yeah,
but
legit.
in the meantime, happy Magna Carta. Day.
Magna
I live in a land of lies, so I'm not sure.
I can't. I'm so happy I think we're having a live stream on June 15th too. So I'm very pleased that
We will be, yeah.
Oh my God, are we doing that? I forgot. We haven't even covered that off. Is that is next Saturday I go? For this is so unprepared.
I think
God.
so.
I forget how
Well-
Doctor Who works. They have episodes every week now. It's just like whatever.
And that's the last one before the two-parter, right? I was trying to figure.
Yeah,
out.
it'll be episode 7.
well, that is the 2-parter. So the finale is what you mean, I assume, Warren.
No, that's what I mean. Like the one next week is Regency, and then we get the two-parter.
It is
Yeah.
correct. Correct.
I'm just gonna keep calling it Regency. I can never remember what the actual title is.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what the
they
cast
call
always
it Regency.
because they don't have episode titles in their heads.
Perhaps it was a temp title, like RTD said on Unleashed for this one there that it went through many titles.
Many titles, yeah.
And I know next to nothing about the Regency era, so this episode is gonna be what I base it entirely on. Especially
Well,
the bird people.
it's from what I can
That's fair,
tell,
especially the bird people.
from what I can tell from Jane Austen and everything else, it's just only rich white people existed in the Regency, and literally
Much like
no
Dot and
one else
Bubble.
did. Just like Dot and Bubble. So, and everyone had fancy clothes on. I went and pasted. Somebody check that for. I'm gonna check it right now. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
It's driving you crazy, isn't it?
Well, I think I'm right because July 1st, 1967, I know is the original broadcast of The Evil of the Daleks Part 7 because
Isn't that
it's
also Canada's 100th
It's
birthday?
also the 100th Canada. That's why it's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, May 26th. May 26th.
Was it May 26th in the UK and June 1st in the US or something? Or?
That's what I want to say.
So it was more or less 10 years before Star Wars.
Was given a rush release in the UK ahead of the scheduled date of June 1st. U.S. release took June 2nd. So
What? Okay, being an old person, I remember when it came out on CD in '87, like 20 years, pretty close to the day, I think. And
Right.
people all the now by then 40-something hippies were like reminiscing about it being such a huge deal and trying to figure out a way to get it on the air and all that. I'm like, that was all very interesting. Like,
Right.
Although even at the time as a teenager, I was like, shut up, boomers. Get at it with your self-reflexive nonsense.
Oh,
Okay, boomer.
No.
we don't say that anymore. That's old.
I've got a
You're
millennial friend who
boomer.
says that to me. He knows it'll set me off.
Oh, well, that millennial is now out of touch as well. So
Good old Gen Z.
no one says okay, boomer.
Some kid with a septum piercing has outcooled you. Until whatever the next thing is happens.
You don't know what else is pierced. You don't want to know.
I don't need to know. It's none of my damn business.
No.
That's what I love about old people, by which I mean people my age. Hey,
Right.
what are these kids doing? Well, none of your damn business what they're doing. They're doing what they want. They're kids.
There we go, filling in. Hey there, everybody. We're just
They're-
waiting to.
They're,
wait for
they're
Ruben
full.
to fill
They're
in.
full of Riz, apparently.
I had to look that up. Of
Whiz
course I did. I would have had to look it up when I was a kid, frankly. So, I mean, what's the difference? I didn't have any Riz back then either. So I was completely Riz-less. Riz-free.
That's because, as we were talking about before recording, we went to nerd high school.
Exactly, yes. Like when the term the drip, meaning somebody looking good, somebody was at George Costanza up because for whatever reason the teens are watching Seinfeld. Their love for very progressive fellow Jerry Seinfeld, I guess, and they're like, look at the drip on George. I'm like, what does that sentence mean? Never mind. I don't need
Are
to
they
know.
still saying that? Because I don't like that.
I don't
it's
think. I think
gross.
it's like last year, but again,
good.
who the hell? How would I know?
I read a thing today on CBC that ankle socks are now out, and so now they're wearing like crew socks again. Kids are with their like with shorts and stuff.
I have ankle socks that I only
my
wear on my
God, the
exercise bike at
horror.
home.
Well,
so-
you're back in. You're back in, Warren. Wear crew. No, don't wear ankle socks anymore.
Oh,
They're
who
bad.
cares? I'm in my tiny little room on my
Right.
exercise bike. Nobody but me can see it, so who cares?
Yeah. No, I know that, but well, that's right. You never leave the house, so I shouldn't.
Well, I shouldn't.
Except,
leave the house. It's
except
all
for
stuff
the
out.
reflection of your monitor in the glass.
What's that?
It looks like it's sitting in the middle of your kitchen.
Oh, cool. Neato.
Yeah, well,
And you can see my giant pile of books, which is one of many piles of books.
waiting for people to come in. Hey there, everyone. How you doing? How you doing, live stream? We're just waiting for things to come in and creating graphics. Chris is having fun with his continuity cam. I have the power to turn many things off,
But not that,
But not
unfortunately.
Not that.
I don't have the power to do that.
Dot and bubble.
Dot and bubble. How many episodes? I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. This is a live stream exclusive because I know Listen said it right off the top when Capaldi's on the TARDIS. Listen. What is how many times in Doctor Who history?
Oh, has it
I'm
started?
trying to think. Has it started with the name of the episode title? And I can think of Listen and Dot and Bubble, and that's as far as I've gotten. So
I can't think of another one. I'm sure there are other ones.
I'm
I
sure.
can't think of
Well, actually, no. That's because the police wandering around in the first episode of Doctor Who, so it goes, an unearthly child, and then he walks off, and so that's number one, obviously.
them. Yes, of course.
Trying to think. What
Like in
other
episode 2 where they go, mutants.
one. Mutant. That's right. Actually, no. The very first they go, 100,000 BC. My
What
favorite.
about that tribe of gum that we've haven't heard
I
of
know.
yet?
My favorite line is when Mark Corey arrives on Kemble or something, and it goes, "Calla
They
cutaway."
didn't know.
Calla cutaway is what he says. And so it doesn't actually say that. I'm kidding. That is a joke. I'll tell you what's a joke. The chip's down here. Can you hear me? That's right, Shannon Patrick Sullivan, who would know more than a few things about
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Can you hear me? Was that in Syria? I want to say the people in Syria said that. I'm trying to remember what happened in Can You Hear Me? I think it
If
started.
you'd listen to
Listen.
Doctor Who: The Memory Cheats, then
I try not to.
Who would listen to that? Can You Hear Me? Probably one. Just go through the episode titles and say no. Not many. Not many. Let's put it that way. Not many at all. Not many at all. What's another little peek behind the curtain that we can give you? Oh, we're recording probably another commentary episode for Planet of the Spiders later today, kids. How about that? That's going
boy.
to come out later this year. Or early if you're a Patreon supporter.
Have they already gotten? No, we haven't started releasing them yet, have we?
No, we haven't. Shannon
No.
Patrick Sullivan. It's not morning. It's never morning because you're in Newfoundland, right? And so it's got to be middle of the night there. I think in And
Not
plus,
sure it's quite that
plus a half an hour, obviously. But
That always baffled me as a child. Half an hour later, Newfoundland. I'm
half
like,
an
"But
hour later, it's
why?
like,
But
why do they keep delaying things
so
in Newfoundland?
confusing.
I know, and then you realize, oh wait, everything's delayed half an hour in Newfoundland.
And like, the CBC was very keen to keep telling you that too.
Well, it's important, you know. It's very important. Newfoundland is the 10th and last province admitted into Canada in 1949. All those you non-Canadians out there, they're
Newfoundland and Labrador.
Newfoundland and Labrador now, of course,
no.
with their official name.
I'd just like to compliment Madeline Kay. And who can forget when the second Doctor said this is a real mind robber of a situation? That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's true. All right.
This looks like a war machine to me.
How many people we got? 71 people watching this. What is wrong with you? It's probably nice out or cold out if you're in the southern
Vancouver report.
hemisphere.
It's 11 degrees and kind of dismal out there.
It's
right
it's kind
I don't
of
even know what it is here.
it's sunnyish today. It's a bit windy though, but I had the balcony. I had the door open just now until I closed it, and it was nice. It's finally nice today. So
Yeah, I have the opposite. I have windows open most of the time, and now they're closed. But it's not
3
staying
likes,
in
Brad Freeman. Are
god-awful
you one of the 3? I only have 1 like on my end, Brad Freeman. Anyway,
Gordon
Boy,
Freeman's
I see
son.
4.
yes, there are 4 likes.
There are 4 likes, indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you, David Warner.
That was a good episode of Star Trek.
That's a
The
great
Next
episode of Star Trek.
Generation, wasn't it?
All
Probably
that
one of
shirtless
I mean,
Picard.
it's no disco finale.
We won't talk.
I have yet to watch.
We won't have to.
Well,
I've yet to watch anything from season 5.
I'll just mumble.
Wow,
incoherent
you are
about
really
it.
behind. Wow.
No, he is ahead.
I was waiting. I
in
was,
that.
I was
It's
waiting.
avoiding it.
I was waiting for all 10 to be available.
Well, they're out there now on
Get
Paramount,
out.
Well, enjoy.
on Paramount Plus, soon to be bought by.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get it while Paramount still
Tubi.
exists.
Tubi's gonna buy up Paramount Plus.
No, Canopy will. It'll
Yeah.
become a library somehow.
Pete Hewitt's on the patio in the UK.
Nicely
You know what?
done.
There's a cricket World Cup that started. T20 World Cup that started today, and it's in the US, which I'm like really like. Come on. It's a warm up match though right now. T20 Blast Summer. No, I watched that yesterday. I'm looking at cricket, everyone. We're delaying RFS because I want to know what the cricket scores are.
Great.
It's okay,
US
Australia will beat England anyway. So
well, no, I'm talking county cricket. It's Warwickshire and Nottinghamshire later today.
Warwick.
He cricket.
Warwick.
My word, man.
Warwickshire and Nottinghamshire in the T20 Blast for the UK. I get to watch that now, so it's kind of fun.
That is a sentence that has no meaning to me, and I'd like to keep it that way.
I know, because you are a troglodyte when it comes to sports.
Well, I'm going to agree to disagree, as I often do with Rainbow Warrior 71, in the most gentlemanly way possible. This was not a good show.
Canopy bought out Paramount Plus, and you don't need to subscribe to Paramount Plus. You just have to have a library card, and
That'd be great.
Awesome.
That'd be awesome. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Was that for their massive back library?
They do have a massive back library.
yeah. Canopy is great. Canopy is
Well, if you can get it, it's great.
yeah. If it works for you, have a look at Canopy. Kanopy. This episode of Radio Free Skaro brought to you by Canopy
Brought to you by libraries. They're good.
and libraries and books apparently, which apparently are good. Okay.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that whole book situation back there.
Yeah.
One of
We
many in this place.
have yammered.
I got books behind me, yo.
Hey,
I have
Many,
cool
many
like me,
books.
I have a TARDIS behind me because I'm on the actual TARDIS set for this week, guys. So it's pretty impressive.
It was after we watched Dot and Bubble last night. There's a lamentation from Kat about the lack of content in the TARDIS control room.
She's got a point.
It's amazing. That's been 3 weeks now of no TARDIS.
That probably means there's gonna be a whole lot of it in the end part.
Yeah. Let's save that precious content for the episode, which we should start recording now.
All right. Well, here, let me just do it.
At some point soon.
There we go.
everyone-
I'm recording.
Everyone, get your stuff together. You at home don't have to worry about this, but
Oh, okay. I'll start recording.
we are ready. I'm gonna hit record. Audacity. Don't remind. I've turned the fan off. I've closed the window. A little
give me 1
background
second, I'm
music
just
is still playing, but
I'm just gonna unmount my backup hard drive so
yeah, it makes
spins
noise. Chris's hard drive makes noise.
It vibrates.
It does.
We used to be on a pile of napkins to muffle the vibrations, but
Pile
for some
of
reason,
High tech.
for some reason, it's
Pile-
no longer so.
Of napkins. I think you have to suspend it in a.
Aqueous solution.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's probably recommended. I think. Put it in a giant.
Hey guys, I'm running the Magna Carta Marathon on 15th July. We'll listen to the pod
June.
around. It's June.
15th June. Come on, Rob.
Come on, every day is
Everyone June. Come on, Rob.
Come on, every day
everyone
is
knows
Magna
when
Carta
Magna Carta Day is.
Every
Except
day
us.
is Magna Carta Day.
I love how this has become a thing now.
All right. You recording there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm
Go already?
1 minute in now.
Yeah, about that.
I know.
Same
All
here.
right, that's good. Me too. Warren's got his appropriate. What are we at? 25 frames again? Okay.
Absolutely, we're never not at 25 frames.
All right. All right.
Say The Hobbit. What are you talking about?
23.976, the one true format.
That's true.
Good
All
old
right.
NTSC. Anyway,
3, 2, 1. Oh, whoa. 3, 2, 1. Bang.
False start, much.
I know. Well, I dropped it. I dropped the damn thing. So. It's tough work. I would obviously be fired as my job as a clapperboard.
yep, you would. You would never be somebody that Stefan Powell interviewed.
Stefan
Powell.
Bauer. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 963. I'm Stephen in Edmonton.
Or in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Officially past the halfway point of Doctor Who season 1. We are officially
Or
into.
we're six episodes in.
There we go. Glass half full. We are
We're
officially
2/3 through.
Yeah, that's true. We're into June. Happy Pride Month. And we're here to review Dot and Bubble.
Just showing off all my
Just
pride
showing off,
paraphernalia.
Warren showing off all the prize stuff that
yeah.
he has
I've
on
got
the live stream.
Something that
He's got a thing there too. We got a
So,
strap there, something like that.
yeah. Although I could put one on. I've bought a few over the years.
Interesting. I mean, just a quick follow up from last week where we reviewed 73 yards, and I had one or two bones to pick with it. That being the entire spine of the
You
episode.
don't say.
One or two bones. You were a vulture after Carry On. I mean, geez.
Exactly. You skeleton that bit.
I know. And I sort of let it go because a lot of people liked it. But then a few people. Not that I was like looking to curry favor or like score points or something, but like I was mildly surprised at how many people. Even though it probably wasn't the majority, but there were listen, not naming names here, but there were a couple of noted fantasy authors who pinged me and agreed with me on my take on 73 yards. So
I will name names. I'll just make up names.
So it validates
J.R.R. Tolkien, for one.
It validates my opinion. Therefore, I am better than you.
Okay, well, there's
everyone.
many things wrong with that sentence. I won't go into why.
But you know what? I am happy that this show is, everyone keeps saying it takes big swings, and it's like that's a baseball analogy when from left to right. But I feel like it's more of a cricket thing, tying back into what we were just talking about before we went live on this episode on the live stream, which you can watch, by the way, on YouTube. It's more of a cricket thing because they can go anywhere. They can go behind and up, and like everything's fair game because you're standing in the middle. And this is kind of what Doctor Who is doing this year. Is taking some pretty big, wide swings when it comes
Cricket,
to
the
Doctor Who.
pansexuality of sport.
Kind of like that.
Wow.
The pansexual. If we didn't already have a title, which thank you very much, Dan Peck, for suggesting that third-hand
yes.
title, we would have the pansexuality of sport would be obviously one. But
Which sounds like the year of the Sex Olympics for a title.
we don't talk about Woody Allen films on this podcast.
That's not a Woody Allen film.
Isn't it?
No, that's a British film. I don't remember.
Oh, right. What am I thinking of? The 72 film where they're chased around by a giant boob.
Yeah, I can't remember. I memory hold most of Woody Allen's work.
That's true. Anyway, on that note, let's talk about episode 5. Dot and Bubble, written by Russell T Davies, directed by Dylan Holmes Williams, who directed 2 episodes of Doctor Who and probably had about 2 total days on set with Nchuti Gatwa as Doctor Who. Because we basically have had 2 Dr. Light episodes. I think that's pretty much it now for Dr. Light episodes.
Technically, Dr. Light. He's still
Very
in it.
yeah, but like they worked around it pretty well, I thought, in this episode to cover the fact that Nchuti was still.
If
Still
by
working
pretty
on
well
sex
you mean
education.
basically cloning Blink, yeah.
A little bit, I guess. Yeah, a little bit. Or Love and
No, more like
no,
Blink.
more Blink.
Yeah.
More Blink. Yeah. I went first with my rant last week, so I won't do that again. I'm gonna go with Chris. Chris, what's your initial opinion of Dot und Bubble?
My initial opinion or my solidified opinion? I don't even know if I have one of those.
I know, because I think, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that.
I had no idea what to think about it. Like,
Oh, really?
I had no idea like what I thought of it, or if I liked it, or if it had carried any consequence or anything whatsoever.
Right.
After watching it the first time, after watching it the second time, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it carried any consequence or not.
Right.
It seems that in such a short season, I don't know. It seems kind of throwaway.
Really?
Seems kind of inconsequential to the arc of the series. Because I mean, have we had anything about the one who waits since Devil's Cord? I don't think so. I don't recall so anyway.
No, I don't think so. No, which is fine by me, honestly. But
And then, like,
they did have the Daisy, the Susan Twist character being recognized for the second week in a row. But
well, and even more so this time. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost kind of a, pardon the pun, dot and bubble episode.
wow. Okay.
I don't know, I've got more. I'll go into more later maybe, but I wanna hear Warren's pontifications.
Warren.
Right. Okay, so I was kind of in the same boat as Chris the first time I watched it. I'm like, I don't know if I like this or not. A lot of it kind of took me. Okay, I'm gonna mea culpa here from the start. In Unleashed, RTD goes, "There's a test for white people. Do you notice that it's all white people?" And I failed that test. I
did
didn't
too.
notice until the end, and I was like,
I passed.
And I just like, oh, I suck as a human being. How could I not notice this?
Yeah.
Right? Because all these people show up and they're immediately disgusting influencer scumbags who I hate to begin with. So I
Yeah.
just kind of never got past that, to be honest with you.
It
It's
takes
still on me that I didn't notice. But
No.
It definitely ticks a lot of your bad boxes.
yes, it does. And
Yeah.
they're all people I don't want to see succeed. And like I'm like, well, what I'm going to call the slacktators, because they're lazy tractators, running around eating these guys.
Right.
You know, I'm kind of on their side, honestly.
Slactators. That's a good one. Put that on a ribbon
love
for
it.
Galley,
Thank you,
everyone.
thank you,
Yep.
slactators. But so the first time I watched it, I was just like, and then at the end we get the racism thing, and it, because of what I previously said, it kind of took me by surprise, and I was half and half on it. I was like, I think Shooty did a fantastic job, especially given it was his first day, which we can get into that later. But that's
Yeah.
a lot to ask of a dude on his first day. Like, but then I was also. I guess it makes sense. These people are the way they are, and I didn't clue in, and that, which is why I watched it again. And you do kind of pick up on that as you go. Once you know it, it kind of fits together better. But
Right.
it felt like it was kind of waving all over the place the first time to me, and so that's why I watched it again. And I think I liked it, but I'm still kind of like, it's kind of floating. It's not bad or anything. It's just kind of
Right.
floating in the air for me. Also, I've seen people of color say, and I think they're absolutely right about this. Why does and it makes sense for the character itself, the Doctor, to be compassionate no matter what.
Right.
But to have a black person have to go, oh no, I forgive you. Well, no, the hell with these guys, they suck, right? So I kind of like,
Yeah.
I was kind of like meta wise, I was like, that's not right, and it felt like, is that intentional, or is that just RTD being a clueless 61-year-old white guy, or what is it? Like, I mean, I was just a clueless 53-year-old white guy all the way through this, so who knows?
Right. Yeah, I think it's just the Doctor's nature of helping people, you know.
That's what I thought too.
Like-
And I also thought, well, maybe the Doctor never ran into this before, but
Well,
that's
that-
certainly not true. And
No,
not
well,
with us now. So
in this
showing Joe Martin.
Yeah, I mean, but Joe Martin was, born in flames, so to speak, because she's like, the like she.
But you'd think at
done
least a
everything.
Ruth, she would run into some of this nonsense.
Well,
right?
who knows? We
So
know-
the Doctor would have had previous.
Yeah.
Although they don't remember that, so maybe not.
It's- Yeah, exactly. You don't remember it.
yeah.
There's almost like, I mean, it's my favorite episode of the season. There we go.
Boom's still my favorite.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Favorite.
Okay.
I thought it was.
Wow.
It was like it was shaping up. Go on. Yeah. What, Chris?
I was gonna say you are like complete iconoclast this season.
I know what's going on. It's like Warren. I admit I was like, I didn't really notice that all these people were white because their whole look The
Yeah.
whole look of the thing, they're all wearing the pastels. Like every single person has got this. Like there's also like some. I'm not like saying this. Defending my lack of noticing. But like even their makeup and their clothes are all like the exact
overdone,
same.
clowny kind of thing.
Yeah.
And regardless of gender as well.
Which I think was kind of like done to disguise the fact that everyone was white.
Or emphasize it. I mean,
or emphasize it as well.
It's easy for us to say that, but if you're not white, you probably did notice it a whole lot earlier.
Yeah, and it was only when that moment where Lindy says that his actual name starts with the C. I was like, oh my god.
Well, I was thinking about that. I'm like, is September one of the good ones? But no, he was raised under this system, which is clearly terrible. So he's probably slightly better than the rest of them.
Yeah,
but not great.
At least, I like that. He's the one that
he turns off his bubble after he does his thing and goes and reads.
But I don't think that's a get out of jail free card. If we knew more about
No.
this guy, we'd probably find out some stuff we didn't like.
He uses dot and bubble exactly like I use Instagram and just go there.
Same here,
I post my thing and then I'm out.
Hit and run.
Hit and run. I don't want to do it. And then as you say, even before I watched the Unleashed, did I notice just based on the outfits that was, hey, wait a minute, that's press launch day. That's day one of shooting because they unveiled their costumes and that was exactly what they were wearing on that first day. And then I realized, oh my god, like that's his first day. Yeah. That reaction and that performance. That wordless reaction where he starts laughing and then just gets down and just like almost swears and like spits and everything that is.
Oh, he's great. It was fantastic.
One. And I know that people are like, how dare they put him through that. So Chris is like just playing with reactions to completely undermine our talk about racism. To put him through that, I mean, Russell T Davies even talked about it on Unleashed. Like, do we drop this on him on day one? By the way, you have to react.
Or do we reschedule? Do we? Yeah.
But, it is. I mean, it's unfair for anyone to have to put an actor through that. But it's also like I'm just thinking logistically. Like these 2 episodes that Dylan Holmes Williams directed. He had one day with Ncuti Gatwa while he was shooting Sex Education for 73 yards on location. And he had basically 1, maybe 2 days for this because all of his lines are him reading it off an auto cue. And then he had 1 day where he comes in and shoots it. And so when do you reschedule that? I mean, you already have 2 days total with him over the course of like 8 weeks. You can't. There's literally the 1 day that he had to shoot it. So I don't think it could have been done. The fact that he does that performance, I mean, that is almost an audition piece in and of itself. And only Ncuti Gatwa could do that. And what I really liked about this,
or China.
Yeah, and what I really liked about this whole episode, and I know we're kind of jumping around, but it's important to talk about this as the core piece, is that, no disrespect to Rosa, which I think did a great job at looking at racism and having the Doctor's companions experience it firsthand. But that's in 1955. This is a future which looks like a sort of utopia. Everyone's all happy and free, and they only have to work for 2 hours a day, and they get to have friends and everything like this. And racism is still front and center.
Well, like most utopias, it's founded on somebody else doing all the work.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I liked about it. It wasn't like if you could have had the Doctor go into the past and have that experience, and we wouldn't have been surprised. It would have been disappointing, obviously, but the fact that it happens in the future, in a place that looks like it's you would think that we would have gotten past that, and I like how it's not as blatant as you could get away with in the past. Like, there's a couple lines that they go, well, I blocked you. I thought you were somebody different, but maybe you just looked alike. And I thought, oh wow, I didn't recognize that on first watch, but I did in the second one.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
He shows up again, and her first instinct is to call the police. which is another one, and the line's busy and everything like that. Like just little subtle things that are
Well,
moved in there,
even
and then
when they get to the tunnel and she just kind of avoids the two of them, and like, on the first
Yeah.
watch I didn't really notice that either because she was just gone through some crazy traumatic stuff and just killed a guy.
Yeah.
So but then the second one I'm like, oh okay, yeah, all right.
yeah, and and even when they're both on screen, most of the times this is great direction and acting about how she's mostly just looking at Ruby. When they're both there, I'm like, oh, I can't believe you're in the same room together. Like, why
I
would
love
you be
that
in the-
scene where he just pops in next door.
Yeah,
That's great.
I know, but like, why? And Erica pointed this out to me when we watched it. It's like, now she gets it. Like, when you're in, why would you be in the same room? It's just like,
Yeah. But at first you don't. Well, at least I didn't.
yeah, it's said a lot. It's said a lot. It made me think. And
Now, are we giving RTD too much credit here?
No, I don't think so.
No.
What I mean, you draw a comparison to Rosa, which is not unfair.
Right.
And I mean, Rosa obviously hits you over the head with it, and that's not a
Kinda has
not,
to.
not in a bad way.
No.
Just because it's
Yeah,
something.
there's no way
that-
around that.
Yeah, and it's a person that most people are going to be familiar with. Maybe not all the details, but at least the broad strokes. Whereas this is just that slow burn, and the impact of it, I think, is that much more powerful as a result. Especially when he finally put two and two together, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they all seem like they're well-meaning. We're gonna live as
Well, I mean,
pioneers.
plenty of
Yeah, like
good
it all-
white folk do. in
Yeah,
quotes.
like it all seems like harmless, and it all seems like kind of like Lego Movie-ish at the beginning, like when Emmett in the Lego Movie wakes up and he's all part of this, and everything's happy-go-lucky music and everything. Everything's
$30
awesome.
for coffee.
Yeah, like it just has that kind of feeling to it. Like this is what this episode's going to be, and then it is the heart of it. Everyone is like
Awful.
truly awful,
Yeah, repulsive.
truly awful people that you kind of want to buy into. I had the joke at Beth Axford on Twitter a couple days ago. Tweeted out like, "Oh, Lindy, I will be your friend," and all this and stuff. Having seen the things, and then she quote tweeted it this morning. Says, "I take it all back. I was wrong." Lured in.
Just to jump at the end, the guy with the long hair and the toque whose name escapes me, they all had very Toast of London names.
Yeah.
The minute I saw him, I'm like, and he says all the stuff he says, I'm like, oh, not only are you a racist and a colonizer, but you also look like you play hacky sack and have an electric unicycle. I hate you for a number of reasons.
Yeah, a lot of things to hate. So yeah,
This is your kryptonite with your person kryptonite, Warren.
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of influencers. Was of course partly. Now, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, okay, well, first of all, Homeworld, otherwise known as Racism Prime,
Right.
is full of people who said, let's get rid of our useless rich kid, fail son and daughters, and
Kinda
put them on this
BR'd him.
planet.
Yeah.
But where'd they get all this from? Clearly, and that planet got destroyed by the slugs too, so probably for the same reason, right? Although I had a friend of mine point out to me, these dots didn't do this for good reasons. They did it because they were annoyed at these people, which is a good reason, by the way. but there's a point to all this, which was, that when we cap on, like, I understand why he was capping on 17 to 27-year-olds and kids being in their bubble, but I mean, that is not restricted to teenagers or kids or whatever. Like, how many boomers or Gen X for that matter got their minds boiled by Facebook in the last general election in the States or in Canada? You see it all. Like, I don't see most of this because I muted all of it, but it's definitely
muted it.
there.
You muted it, Warren.
I've
That's
created
this.
my own bubble because I don't want to see a bunch of
You slid
idiots
'em.
yelling about Trudeau. Like,
You slid him. I know.
of course I did, because why would I put up with that? Why would
but
I? When I hear people
Yeah.
go, you just need to make friends with people who are fans of Trump. I'm like, no, I don't. I absolutely do not need to do that. Why would I do that to myself?
Right, I know. Not to say that on both sides this thing, but like we all make our own bubbles.
Yeah,
let's
so he's
face it.
got a point there, but also I didn't really need to say anything but old people. I just want to put that in there that particular generation gets a lot of flack, and for good reason, but so do all the other generations should get the same flack.
Yeah.
Believe
One
me.
thing I'm curious about that I don't think was shown. I want to know how many followers Lindy had.
Did they show? I don't remember.
They didn't. Because you see everyone else, right? And you see,
you see everyone
X
else,
X number of followers and whatever.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Gothic
Rick-
Paul.
Gothic Paul. Did he
Gothic
have-
Paul has like some small tiny number relative to most of the people. So
Right.
how did Lindy and him become friends, whatever? But there's when Lindy's like the chapping scene, for example,
Right.
just the sycophantic reactions that people have to what Lindy is saying makes me wonder how big of an influencer she is meant to be, like relative
just
to
go on
others.
LinkedIn. You will see that on LinkedIn all the
Right.
time, no matter how big the what an amazing deal you just made. You know, it's something. I have to go on LinkedIn for work, and it's in some ways one of the worst.
Because I mean, for what's this? I can't think of the guy's name. September.
Ricky September.
Ricky
Coombs,
September.
originally.
Ricky September.
Yeah, Ricky
Nay
September.
Coombs.
Like, because it's like for him, it says like top 0.01%
Yeah.
star.
It says everyone, doesn't it?
Star
Yeah.
in every followers, everyone or everybody.
Also, this guy is
Yeah.
not 27. I just want to put that out there right now.
I know.
I mean, Luke Perry, 27.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. My face, my beautiful face.
Well, I like that. Like the makeup that he has on his actual like profile is on Dot and Bubble is different than when we actually see him in real
Yeah.
life, and he's actually done, like he's the least worst.
Which
I mean,
makes-
we don't find out if he would have been
Yeah.
accepting
And I
of the
doubt it.
Doctor.
I
I
doubt
mean, the whole society is
Terrible.
quite awful that you're cheering for the slack-taters to do their worst on
Well,
this
and when they go out
society.
and tame the wilderness, like old Hacky Sack says,
Yeah.
they're not going to tame anything. They're going to die, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they probably think that it's just going to be like just a big glamping weekend or something like this. And
Well,
yeah.
surprise.
It's like
I've
the
got
end
my
of Return of
toque
the
on.
King.
I'm ready to go. I'm an outdoorsman now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the end of Return of the King. They're just going off to die.
Wow. But I like those characters, not these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because it was brought up by Kitty Beth in the chat here. For the homeworld
Yeah.
stuff. So the kids go away. Stephen, you mentioned the B arc.
Yeah.
My first reaction was Paradise Towers.
Me too. Yeah. I had that sense.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
sure there probably there were actually black people in Paradise Tower, so that's part of the Kangs.
There were Black Hangs.
Yep, South Asian ones too, who later appeared in Doctor Who. Yep.
But so because it's never really explained, and at the end of the day, I don't know how much it greatly, if it greatly matters or not. But what were your thoughts on why the slugs were there and wiped everybody out, or why the kids were sent off, or why it was just some kids, like obviously just the rich ones, but like where did your minds go for that
Well,
aspect?
at first I thought to myself, well, why would you engineer these when you just kill people? Like, because the Dot did kill somebody, and they could just why bother? But then our messages here, Madeline K point out, I think these are the original, creatures on the planet, and presumably on Prime too, because there's one of them in the screen there, and they just took advantage of
Okay.
these creatures being there.
Right.
So there's maybe that's part of it. Maybe it was just the Dots were being sneaky, and then they're like, out of hell with it, let's just plunge ourselves in these guys' brains.
I can see the. I don't know how they would manage it, but I guess I could see the Dots have creating or engineering the slugs.
I do like how the
Because-
Doctor goes. Now, I don't want to be rude, but you are all annoying, which is absolutely true.
Yeah.
My brain went to them being like literal technology bugs, and I don't know if that's remotely correct.
It's a featured out a bug kind of technology bug.
Yeah.
Is what, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, the fact that they do murder people alphabetically,
Which is, yeah. I mean, it kind of doesn't matter. They're
kind of great.
a monster MacGuffin or monster
Yeah.
Guffin, if you will. But
Chris has already been eaten in that case. Warren, you're probably next on the bill.
F, I'm screwed. You might have a.
I am sitting fine right now.
Well, you just got to become a pop star who is moderately tolerable compared to the rest of the races.
Well, that's true. Even
should
if
be
I-
okay.
If I went by middle name W, I'd be safe. So that's all right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gore Vidal in the chat says, "Why did the Doctor try to save just one person?
That bugged me
he's
too.
He's
Yeah.
watching everyone dying. He's trying to save them all.
I
It's
think
like everybody can come with me.
I get the impression that he finally managed to break into because he's outside of the bubble. He's just trying to
Right,
get
yeah.
into someone. Okay, Lindy finally answers. But how many people probably just slid him. Finally, we don't get to see that aspect. It's finally Ruby, kind of that is the one that sort of breaks through. I mean, we see the Doctor at the end in the pre-title sequence, of course, and then of course he sonics it and gets in there and stuff. But yeah, it's almost Ruby at least was looks the part of this place.
Yeah,
young.
Aryan, I think is what you're looking for.
That's exactly it. Even down to the hair, the blonde hair, and the fact that she's like 19. That she's the one.
Yeah, the
that's gonna work
twins,
through.
or second viewing, the twins creep me out the most. I'm like, oh, two Aryan twins.
Yeah, I know.
Which is unfair to twins, by the way.
It is a little bit, I suppose, but yeah, yeah, very thought provoking, very good. Shooty got
Yeah,
what?
I still don't know if I like it,
I did,
Yeah.
but it definitely.
And I've
makes me
seen
think.
people say, and they're absolutely right. Maybe Amanda Ray Prescott, for one, said maybe they should have run this past a couple of black sensitivity readers before they put this out. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you RTD didn't. He doesn't strike me as the kind of person who runs anything by anybody. So
No,
but probably should have.
probably.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at like the Bad Wolf team, for example, so Joel Collins, Phil Collinson, Russell T. Davis,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Julie
pretty.
Gardner,
it's pretty,
Jane Tranter, they're
It's
all
a lot like this screen,
middle-aged white people.
except more
There's
talent.
yeah, I mean, as much as we see a lot of the creative team on Doctor Who Unleashed. Sure, not sure that the people on the crew and stuff are a lot of very diverse backgrounds and everything like that. But the people making the show are certainly still, well-meaning, let's say it, white people, but still, like there's a layer of unfamiliarity that you will just naturally have.
And that wasn't any different with the previous, like, Chibnall
No.
tried a little harder. Well, not tried a
Chibnall-
little hard, but tried. Let's put it that way.
Chibnall, I think, Chibnall still, I think, is the one thing that we can say lots of things about Chibnall bringing to Doctor Who, but like the diversity behind the screen is one thing that he
do that more than
really stretched the boundaries
RTD1 and
on.
Moffat, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? I appreciate feeling uncomfortable in an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm all right with it
The-
not being, basically being made to feel slightly guilty about the fact that not noticing.
Oh, I
until-
felt more than slightly
was-
guilty
yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Because I mean, you got Lindy. She's the first person you see, and you're following her around and her interactions and whatever. She's the protagonist. Generally speaking, the protagonist is the one you're supposed to like. And
You're
root
meant to
for
like
and all
her.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're meant to like her, and
And then by the
go
end of it, the rug gets pulled out from under the feet, and it's like, holy,
yeah, it's done well because it's made to look like
it's
she's
done very well.
bright and, no pun intended, bubbly, and and we can see that lots of people like her, and the everyone looks happy and stuff, and sure we can see that they're in this weird world where she can't even walk without getting directions from the bubble.
I mean, this happens in real life. There was a woman who was like one of the first women pilots in the 30s,
Right.
and she was like one of America's sweethearts. She was also pro-Nazi and an absolute monster, and dropped leaflets on the White House, against whoever was in there at the time. I don't remember. So this is something that just happens where they're lovely and sunny and also terrible.
Yeah, because they don't have. I mean, it just. There are aspects in their world that they're just not part of their lives, and so they don't have to deal with them. And so it's often like, when you go into a group of people like this, like you just never expect them to be racist, probably because you just think they're just cute and bubbly, but they just have no sensitivity or sensibility to anything
Which
outside
is not letting
of
them
their
off the
bubble.
hook, I want to point out.
Yeah,
I think the sheer superficiality of everything,
Right.
everything that's talked about in the bubble, it just is that much more of a mask.
I
yeah,
was like, I would last 5 minutes in this bubble. I would not do well.
yeah. Like it's oh man, it takes me back to when I moved out of my apartment several years ago, and the landlady was an older lady, and I could sense it was, she was didn't suffer fools, but she liked me and I liked her, and we got along well. And then when I finally moved out, she's like, I wanted to move downtown. And sort of having a chat with her, he says, "Oh, if you're doing our best to keep this, have a nice apartment building, making it just white people."
What?
Like on literally the last day that I knew her in my life, and she just and like I never sensed that.
And on
But
that
that's-
bombshell,
But it's like it was there. She never publicly said it to anyone. Like it was, but that's the low key thing, the thread that was just carrying her along in life.
My version
And-
of this.
and-
is,
and
sorry,
when-
go ahead, Chris.
Yeah.
and when you thought back on prior interactions, she didn't hide it, but
well,
she
I
didn't
mean,
show it. But
it was mostly like, can I get some change to the laundry? Like, it's not like we had a lot of conversations.
also superficial. Okay,
But superficial conversations that a tenant and a landlord would have, or landlady would have, and then you think back and think and then you think, come to think of it, yeah, no one in the building was
Which is
anything
illegal,
but white.
by the way, on top of immoral.
Yeah, I mean it's changed since then, but and then you think back like, oh my God, yeah, that's right. Like I had been living in this place for 3 or 4 years, or how? No, it's more than that, like 10 years, and you think that, oh my God, like I did not realize living in this bubble that I have been living in. Not really wanting to know the neighbors. Let's face it. I mean, to this day, I don't really want to know the neighbors either.
I understand that
in the
impulse
current
me
place,
too
you know
well.
what it's like.
I have a cute dog that lives down the hall. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all I want to know.
Just not thinking about it until you find that seed, and then you start going back and think, wait a damn second. There's probably a lot of perfectly great people that probably were turned away
Oh yeah, absolutely.
from this place that I would never know about because I'm just happily living in this apartment building on my own.
So my version of this story is I was at a work event years ago. This person has long since retired, so I'm not going to name names here, but his wife was talking to us, and she's like, oh yeah, I used to live in Vancouver till it changed. I'm like, well, I think I know where this is going,
Yeah.
so I'm going to start pressing on this. And so I did in as gentle a way as possible because I want to keep my job. She wasn't anybody I worked with. She was just associated with the thing I was at. And she's like, well, all the people from Hong Kong moved. And so I made a point of telling her, oh yeah, all my friends
Right.
that I moved out to Vancouver at the same time are from Hong Kong. They all lived in Edmonton with me. So I just wanted to let her know that without, outright calling her out because I
Right.
make a scene of the thing I had to make money at. But
Yeah.
but I was like, well, I'm going to call her out anyway at some point, somehow, subtly. But the same thing. It's like this perfectly nice 60-something-year-old woman who's just like, oh, by the way, I hate Asian people. I'm like, oh, great, wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you why I don't.
Yeah.
Not that
So-
I should have to.
What I mean to say that even these kids, these 17 to 27-year-olds who live in a bubble, are
Nothing pushing against them.
nothing pushing against them, and they come from a world where probably this exact thing, I experienced it with people in their 60s 20 years ago, and so like this is just a low key thread that's just like that. It never threatens them, so they never talk about it. But then when it does threaten them, that's when they wait. No, well, you're not one of us. God, it was shocking.
So what I was thinking while I was watching was, okay, so why did they move all these kids to this world, the rich kids? Like, is it just a vacation, or are the older people like, we can't even stand these kids, and they're our kids?
Or was it to save? I mean, clearly, I don't think it was to save them because clearly they're going to die off.
Yeah.
because they're
useless.
they haven't even hugged, so they're not exactly
more-
going to procreate the species here.
definitely not vacation because they're working, so of course not.
Yeah, for
But
2 hours a day.
even still,
Yeah.
2 long hours a day.
Dead entry.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more I like the notion of it being the B arc.
Yeah.
Just getting rid of the fluff.
Summer kids, basically. Summer camp.
Yeah.
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Planet fail, they should call it.
Yeah. Not that it feels kind of trivial to talk about other aspects of the thing, like, oh, what did you think of the direction on this? Which I thought was great. There was
I think the VFX
That
was
was great,
fantastic.
yeah.
I'd like to put
Yeah.
that out there.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of like the bubble thing itself.
I know. Yeah.
I just to direction one shot I'll put out there that I really liked.
Oh,
was
what if it's
with
the same one I
with
wanna
the
talk
camera at the bottom of the stairwell as they're going down, and
it's a different
just tracking as they go down.
Oh, that's a good one. The one that I liked, because you so rarely see these anymore, and I wish you would, is when Lindy walks in and there are 4 slack taters on the street.
Thank you.
And nowadays, there'd be a camera and it would physically pull back. But he zooms out, and I loved it. You never see zooms anymore, and it's just a slow zoom out to see that there are 4 by her. And I'm so glad that it's very Kubrickian. Kubrick loved his zooms.
Oh yes, he did. There's one in Eyes Wide Shut I absolutely love.
Oh my, and they're so unique now that, I mean, if you've watched Michael Ferguson's directed Doctor Who, you've seen zooms everywhere.
Well, the reason for that is that I remember watching stuff that came out after you got zooms in film, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so this migrated to TV. So when you'd watch the Rockford Files, everything would be here's the car, and then we're zooming out to the traffic,
Yeah.
because we can, right? Just
We
like
can
a
do
crane,
it. And then it became, and then this is, oh no, zooms are no good. Now we can dolly it.
because
And
they
then,
overdid
like,
it.
Yeah, they overdid it, and now I feel like dolly shots are overdone. So just to have that old timey zoom, not a Jaws zoom, the dolly zoom thing, an actual proper slow zoom out. Perfect. Well done, Dylan Holmes Williams. That is fabulous. That was one of my favorite things of the whole episode when I saw that. But yeah, I thought they CG'd some of the motion and stuff for the Slactators.
Which was also good. It was good CG.
Well, so much to the point. Well, it was good CG, but it was also I could tell that CG, and I thought, are these whole monsters CG? And then I watched Unleashed, and it says no. They actually made a
spruced up.
Practical
Yeah.
base. Yeah.
But they're actually spruced up as well. So,
Yeah.
which is the way you should be doing this stuff.
Oh,
everything
yeah.
that works when it works.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
before things scroll past, a couple of comments I want to throw out there from the live stream chat.
Right.
Number one from Sir Neil Perryman. Words you never hear him
No
say.
Republican.
Best episode of Doctor Who in years. That is all.
That's all.
So pass the Neil litmus test.
Nice work.
And then from Kurt Armbruster, for that toxic segment of fandom complaining that the show is too woke, this was another RTD
it was.
hold my beer
Yeah.
moment.
I do love it. Yeah, I do love it. And Madeline Kay also says, "Well done, Callie Cook," in the lead role, basically.
Yeah.
And she makes a point in Unleashed of saying, "Hey, this is a role. I'd like to point out it's a role. By the way, it's a role."
I know.
Yeah.
I know she's a actor, young but still an actor, professional actor, whatever. How much extra pressure is it on her for the extreme close up aspect being so prominent and so prevalent in the
Yeah.
that's got to be harder, no?
The camera's right there, literally right in her face the whole time.
And
you
that's
know?
a lot of work. Like,
Yeah,
as
like
an
she's
actor.
she's a
a lot of
star in this
pressure.
episode. Yeah, like what a curious start to, like this is made before Church on Ruby Road. What a curious start to Doctor Who, where it's like here's 3 months of David Tennant, and then they Shooty got shot at scenes for that obviously, but then it says okay, brand new season of Doctor Who. And we're doing this and 73 yards, like 2 entirely almost Doctor-free episodes. What a curious thing for a show to start out on. I mean, that's I love Doctor Who, even if I was annoyed at last week's episode, but I still appreciated many elements of it. I adore where it can go and what it can do, and from week to week. And
Stephen and I were talking about this offline a couple days ago about how Doctor Who is capable of, or actually Star Wars and Star Trek are both capable of doing this, but they keep mining the same old time period because they're scared of the future. Discovery arguably does not scare the future because it's set 1,000 years after everything else.
yeah.
And then
Eventually.
Starfleet Academy, I guess, will continue doing that. But
Yeah.
But generally speaking, those two big franchises, and I regard these as the big three. I might be wrong because I put Doctor Who in an outsized position, probably what it is.
Yeah.
But those two seem to be just terrified of doing anything new, and or being maybe an exception to that rule.
I think the industry, it's you look at like Star Wars going back to High Republic days, apparently, 100 years
Which
before.
I find interesting, but also...
But still, something that's known. Jedi are known. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds is happening at the same time as the original series. Discovery started out there, eventually moved to the future. You're looking at, let's see, Rings of Power is coming back for season 2. That's a prequel to the Lord of the Rings. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon coming back soon. That's a
Furiosa,
prequel.
though I loved it.
Furiosa, prequel. Everyone, and here's the thing: is that prequels are not nearly as successful as I think people are looking at IP when they're making these things, and B, recognizability, but not having to finish a story or build on a story that's already happened because they know where they're going, so they can build up to that and not have to worry about a satisfying ending, which prequels are too much of an easy way out. I'm so happy that Doctor Who is just like none of that. We are going forward, always forward. I love it.
In Furiosa's defense, specifically, they wrote both of them at the same time, more or less, and they just kind of decided to go with, I almost said Ruby Road instead of Fury Road. And also I found it interesting, people were like, well, they should have brought Mel Gibson back and that would have made more money. And it's like, well, first of all, Indiana Jones didn't make any money with an old guy, even though I loved that movie. But also, I saw an interview with George Miller and he put it perfectly without even touching on what a piece of bleep Mel Gibson has turned out to be. He just said, well, I'm not interested in telling stories of an old Mad Max. I want that particular time period, and you can't have an old guy for that. I'm like, well, fair enough.
Yeah. But my point is that all these, these places are building on prequels, and whereas Doctor Who is going forward. But,
I mean, they do, and to its peril sometimes, and when it leans back too far into its past, John Nathan Turner being an example, and various bits and bobs of
it's the
RTD
80s.
or, pick a newer showrunner.
Yeah. And we might get there after season
Oh, we will,
2.
eventually, yeah.
Maybe. I don't think it'll be quite as the hard swing that Jodie Whittaker's second season was compared to her first. But
No.
Chris, did you take notes for this at all as talking points? This is
I did. We covered off a number of them already, but I can bring up the list here.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have fun.
So I did enjoy Lindy not being able to walk without the bubble giving her guidance. That was funny.
I know.
It seemed almost a little too over the top for me, but I'm like, well, maybe not.
She learns it fairly quickly after getting her hand held by Ricky September for a while. And,
She does.
Yeah.
That was one fun thing I found interesting. Even though this guy is probably deep down a racist, he was all about consent, which was interesting. An interesting contrast.
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah. Checking if it's okay that he shakes her hand or holds her hand, whatever.
I know. Like, he is really set up to be the hero. Even the Doctor and Ruby fawn over him.
Well, I love that where he's like, oh, he's very hot, and they're like, hands off.
Yeah. It's like they both say hands off to each other.
Yeah, that was great.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, I'll jump to that part of my notes.
Yeah, let's do it.
The Doctor also says, "Hi, Ricky." Wow.
It's not based on his fame, just he thinks he's hot.
Yeah.
He just thinks it's hot. Obviously,
Unless, of course, in the course of their looking through different people to try and break into to warn them about things, maybe they kept seeing Ricky September in there. And
Yeah,
so
but even
he's
then,
been the front of mind.
It's like as an old person, I find out that Grim Graham is the newest, hottest thing. Who the hell is Grim Graham? I have no idea. Like, oh no, Grim Graham's Milkshake ducked himself again.
That is Instagram for fans of Brothers Grimm fairy tales, I believe, is what Grim Graham is.
That's definitely a startup that's gonna. It probably is a startup that would happen running on the blockchain. But but it
I
wouldn't do
still really don't know who Mr. Beast is. I know that
You're
he's-
I don't
so
either.
lucky. You're so
I don't
lucky, Chris.
either. I don't know who Mr. Beast is. The fascinating thing
I've
about-
never watched a video
No.
of theirs.
I
Like,
watched 5
listen,
seconds and I said, nope. No,
I'm on
thank you.
YouTube a lot, watching old hockey and old British TV and new hockey, let's face it, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And literally never has Mr. Beast, apparently the biggest YouTube star, has once come through my algorithm.
Yeah. Like
My
same thing with me.
little YouTube bubble is like completely oblivious to anything.
So
like that.
I do have a bit of a crossover. So one person I follow and watch their stuff is Mr. Who's the Boss, who used to work for Mr. Beast.
Mr. Who's the Boss? Please tell me
Oh, no.
that's based off the sitcom.
No, I'm thinking of someone else. Boss, who's Boss for the win. For Game of Thrones, GTA. Anyway, continue.
Anyway,
Sorry.
obviously the reasons behind the calls to the police are different, but when Lindy tries to phone the police and all the lines are busy, it made me think of Gridlock.
Yeah, I
Little
definitely got
bit.
Gridlock vibes off this. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, she wants help from the black man who's talking at her, and won't go away, even though she slid him, blocked him.
Hey, I'm blocked. Sonic screwdriver. Lindy walking into the pole twice. I laughed.
Pitt Madeley did a loop. Pitt Madeley of an hour. An hour. I saw it on YouTube earlier. Speaking of YouTube,
To relax or
already.
study to?
Already, he put together a loop of an hour-long loop of her. Also, I want to point
That
out.
sounds like a Pip Madeley jam. Yeah.
I want to point out Pitt Madeley. Also, I mentioned the video for Just last week during 73 Yards review, and obviously Pip was on the same wavelength because he made a video of 73 Yards to Just the
Nice,
song by
nice.
Radiohead. So anyway, wanted to point that out. Shout out Pitt Madeley on YouTube. Follow him.
They'll have to enter it into the fan video happy hour at Gallifrey.
Yes, it should be. Yeah, it's only 3
That's
minutes.
not up to me. That is not up to me. That's up to Kim and Sage.
That's true.
Susan Twist being recognized even more clearly by the Doctor and Ruby.
Yeah, I
so
know.
that's getting expanded upon.
Like, I don't think Ruby's mystery will be answered by the end of this, but I really hope Susan Twist is. Don't stretch that over 2 seasons.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens, but apparently a lot of people are. So some information about the finale was released in the latest Doctor Who magazine, cast list. Susan Twist features there, so a lot of the Doctor Who blogs and whatever out there are saying, "Oh, major role for Susan Twist in the finale." Yeah, maybe, we don't know.
Sure.
But they're certainly building into something with her.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mrs. Flood.
Especially with the meta, the meta elements inside the episodes.
Mrs.
Sorry,
Flood,
Warren,
I'm
I-
guessing. No, I'm just saying Mrs. Flood. Presumably, we're going to find something out, but I don't know that. That's not based on anything other than the fact that they keep bringing her back. So why wouldn't you?
Well, considering the kind of bombshell at the end of Ruby Road with Mrs. Flood, we've seen what 12 seconds of her since. So who knows? What else got here? There's the Doctor ogling Ricky.
Right.
Lindy sacrificing Ricky September so she can survive. So that's kind of the major turning point in her character and our perception of her character as well.
Oh boy, and you get the impression that little dot went through his head.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
absolutely.
do. It does. I said. I went back 10 seconds. Back 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Back
Back
10
into the
seconds.
left.
It's like
Back into the
boom,
left.
man,
And to the left.
Just his reaction,
Absolutely.
just goes lifeless. Like it didn't just hit him there. I love the way they shot that because
A little bit of subtle blood coming out the back.
Dude got
there,
headshotted.
yeah,
Big time.
Wow,
He got no scoped. He totally got no scoped.
Man, there was a musical number on this show 4 weeks ago. We just had a guy got headshotted.
That's the beauty of Doctor Who.
by a racist.
Where's Pip Madeley with that loop?
Right? Like I said, swings, big swings. Yeah. Anyway.
Jensen Baker, no, they are not the same actress.
No, Mrs. Flood. No,
where are we here?
She was not.
We got 2 episodes in a row involving peeing.
When he says you haven't peed for 3 days, I'm like, that's not healthy at all. You really should be peeing.
I know. What are you doing?
And the character is called Dr. P.
Why isn't she? Why is she completely desiccated?
all in the nose.
From
There
lack
is-
of water.
Yeah, there's a bubble account for someone to tell you to urinate. It's just like that's what's there's a subtle hint about what's wrong with this
It's a
society.
little known
and,
hint
and to
that,
check your urine levels on
that
top
Yeah.
of that.
racists don't pee. Just
Yeah. Well, and they never eat. They
they brush their teeth with a light.
They do brush their teeth.
Theoretically, you could do.
Well, it's a laser.
Sure, yeah.
Toothbrush
No, it's
or something.
ultraviolet or whatever. Sure, that scientifically, I think that would work.
Yeah. Yeah, we never see them eat, do we? They never eat.
A commentator, Dr. Strangelove, says, "Can't wait for the Dr. P Big Finish adventures."
It'll happen.
Excellent.
It'll
Well
happen.
done.
I mean, hey, Big Finish, they love stories.
We love stories of being.
They do love stories. Yeah. They have not been shy about minding the prequels, as somebody earlier said in our chat
True,
on the
fair
live
enough.
stream. That is very true. That is very true.
I'm pretty sure this is not an exhaustive list, but I did take down a few instances of the abundant racism in the episode. So
Yeah.
Lindy blocks the Doctor, but happily listens to Ruby. Well, not happily, but reluctantly listens
Less
to Ruby.
suspiciously, yeah.
As I think I said that earlier about how whenever they're both on screen. So the scene showed up again, and the first time I was watching it, I noticed Ncuti Gatwa's performance, but this time I noticed Ruby, Millie Gibson, just reacting, and she's crying too.
Yeah.
Just her reaction to it all as well, and that also sells it. Sorry, I just praise for Millie Gibson. Boy, oh boy, they did it again. They found another.
Well, I'm praised for Ncuti Gatwa too. I mean, that was
Well,
first
well,
day. For God's
I mean,
sakes.
the fact
Praise
she's
to both of them.
18. This is early days for this whole thing. I'm yeah. I'm watching it again. Just the smug look on Lindy as she's sailing off to her death, but she
Yeah.
still thinks she knows better. Looking at man,
Which made me go, yeah, you're gonna die soon. Bye.
you're gonna die, and you just said, oh boy.
Hand emoji.
It was powerful. It was
Waving
powerful.
away.
I just saw it. I watched it out again for me, and it was just yeah, hell of a show. Anyway, Chris, sorry.
Lindy basically implying that black people all look the same.
Yep, I mentioned that too.
The Doctor and Ruby being in the same room, repulsing Lindy. The voodoo remark from Hoochie Pie.
Yeah, that was one.
Yeah, that was a real
Yeah,
sour taste in my mouth kind of a deal.
yeah.
Yeah,
I liked. Yeah, I like that. You don't like. It wasn't like you don't look like us, or you're. It was the dog whistly kind of comments
Yeah, it
from
was
them.
racism is what it was.
It was racism, but it wasn't like. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and just remarking the live stream comments from Doctor Strangelove. Ruby's reaction hits harder when you remember she's the child of a black family.
Yeah.
So absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
The Doctor finally realizing why Lindy and the rest don't go with him. I don't care what you think. You can say whatever you want. You can think absolutely anything. I will do anything if you just allow me to save your lives.
Yeah.
And
Like,
nobody going with them.
Even after all that, like, I don't care if you hate me. I'm here to help you. And they
And
still
even
just don't.
to go back a step quickly to the voodoo comment from Hoochie Pie, that is really the first overt racist thing from somebody that isn't Lindy.
Yeah.
So it just kind of
It shows that the whole society.
It helps to imply that the whole society.
And then
is,
what's his name? Old beanbag there.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, as I said before, like, they never probably talk about. They never probably discuss this.
Well, why would they? It would never come up.
You
right?
don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have to. They've never been challenged on it. So, yeah.
I kept thinking about South Africa pre-apartheid
Yeah.
going away. Probably the same deal. Maybe not quite the same, but
One Chibnall's era was brought up earlier on. There were times in Chibnall's era where Jodie Whittaker's Doctor as a woman was, marginalized, and they weren't. He wasn't afraid to go there, and just like RTD isn't afraid to go there with Nshuti's, the fact that he's a black actor,
Yeah.
or a black person.
One thing with Ncuti experiencing this, or not Ncuti, but the Doctor experiencing this, I was thinking to myself, not only is it bad on the face of it, this person has saved the universe innumerable times. You owe them everything.
they don't
How
know
dare you?
They don't know that, though.
I know they don't know
that.
that, but it's
Yeah.
still, I got mad about it.
Yeah, I know. We know that. We
Yeah,
know that
we know that.
he's their best and only option. They don't. They think they know better. Yeah.
Nshuti's spit take may be more impressive than Timothy Dalton.
I was waiting. Your love of the saliva is amazing and consistent. Chris.
It was genuine.
But it
And I
was, yeah, it did.
was-
It did really work. Yes.
Yeah,
And I love that.
it was very impassioned.
I wonder
Rage-filled, for
I
good
wonder
reason.
how many, because when they showed it being shot on Unleashed, and they had a camera, they had two cameras on it. They never used the side angle on that shot. They just, Dylan Holmes Williams, well done. They're well done on the direction on that, because I think that a lesser director might have cut away on that. He shot it from two different
But that
shots.
takes away from it.
to get the coverage.
Yeah.
But the take that they shot was the same one that they used. I could tell because of all the spittle. And I hope that they did that in one. I don't know how many takes it got for them, but the fact that we saw the behind the scenes of the exact same take that they used, I hope that they only had to do that once or not many times. They didn't have to build up to it.
How draining would that be?
I don't know.
We're the least qualified people to
put
say.
all of that into
Yeah.
because it's all like his rage, his disbelief, his anger, his whatever, and he starts laughing, he doubles over, and
Yeah.
basically starts crying, and
Yeah.
like that's a lot to wring your brain and body
Well, and as
through.
actor, he's got
really
to
is.
draw probably on his own experiences too, which is doubly anguish filled. I would think.
I know. I would. Russell T Davies said that he had to, like, one of the most complicated screen directions just to describe the bubble, like 4 paragraphs, which is rare for a script to have to do that. And then he eventually just resorted to drawing sketches of the bubble. I wonder what.
And they had a practical.
Yeah, I wonder
element.
what the script for that moment said. And we'll find out when it gets put on
they'll
the writer's
release
room
them. I'm
eventually.
sure. Yeah.
Because I'm curious as to, like, he laughs.
Make a mental note to remember to look at that when it does get made available.
Yeah, because I'm really intrigued to see. And Ncuti brought a lot to that. I think, obviously. God, what a performance!
And as we've talked about before, day flipping one. Like, hello, done the read through. Here's your first day on set, and go
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. And knocks it out of the park, obviously.
Yeah,
But,
and I know we talked about it before, but, like, probably unfair to drop that on him on day one, but logistics probably meant that you kind of had to because you literally only had 2 days and 2 months to shoot that bit. Is it worse to do that, or is it, hey, let's build you up with Beatles and sing-alongs and stuff, and oh, by the way, now we're going to do the racism thing, like what? When is a good time to introduce to your main actor that you're going to have to counter racism? Is there a good time? I don't know.
I mean, in a vein like that, I think it's perfect. Just rip the Band-Aid off, get it over and done with as early as possible.
Like, here we go.
It's not easy no matter what.
No, it isn't.
And at least RTD was at least a little cognizant of that. If Unleashed is to be believed, yeah.
And I just love that it's wordless. I love that there are, after they leave, there isn't a single line spoken. It's all just reactions and emotions, and it's just like, yeah.
And I'll give RTD to this. He didn't address any of this in RTD 1, really, more or less.
No.
Despite having a companion who was black for multiple seasons.
Spoiling Erica's potential comments on Verity recorded tomorrow. But she turned to me and says, okay, I guess that resets the Martha Jones thing, because when they land in Shakespearean London, just walk around like you own the place, and it's like, yeah, there we go, that cleared that. That was 2007. It wasn't Arrested Development.
So RTD's done a little bit of homework. Good.
It's you don't own the place. Even when you think you do, even when you think you're the best option, you're. I've often said that white privilege is walking into a room full of people and you're the only white person and you never feel like you're the minority, and I feel that a lot, let's face it, and
yeah, that's why I don't think I'm all that qualified to comment on some parts of this.
I think we shouldn't cede the stage. This is speaking to us, because I know what you mean, Warren, but both of us, Warren, and we never got, Chris recognized it earlier on, but Warren and I didn't. We just thought they were annoying people, and then we know they were all white.
I didn't see it during the episode. It hit me thinking about the episode retrospectively after the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
but I failed the test.
It certainly wasn't during, because as RTD says in Unleashed, like, how long is it going to take somebody to notice? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25. You're like, yeah, for me, 45.
Yeah, it took us a long time.
Yep. Well, shame on me, frankly, and I mean that. I'm not joking.
But I feel better. I feel better for the experience. I feel thank God you have taught a white person to feel better about themselves. So
which was the goal the whole time.
Also a good thing, right?
Thanks, middle-aged white showrunner.
Oh yeah. Eventually we are catered to. Anyway, Chris.
And this the last thing I had on my notes, and this is I think as much for Warren's benefit as anything else. Basically, you almost become aligned with the dots. In wanting.
What do you mean almost?
Wanting to kill the residents.
Yeah, they could snap to it. Come on, Dots, get to it quicker. Just send the next batch of idiot children.
I kind of wish that the credits sort of rolled out, a little like single frame credits, and then cut to like a sort of like a vignette style of like them getting eaten alive in the in the wild.
With
cut
the music.
Back, another thing there. Like kind of like the sketches, like at the end of the Mandalorian credits, which are great. Like that kind of thing of having to show what happened.
Just have a silent thing with Ricky September lying there with a hole in his head, a la the Adric credits.
Oh dear! With a laugh track.
With a laugh track, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So, Stephen, your favorite of the season so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
Warren, you said Boom.
Boom is my favorite. This is it's somewhere in the middle. Not fair. It's probably a little higher than that. But I gotta let this one simmer.
But they're so different. We've had the Devil's Cord and Space Babies and this and 73 Yards and
none of those match up with any other.
And
it's good.
Where do you put them? It's like I had Fruit Loops, I had pizza, I had Mr. Watt, I had some Indian food. It's like, which is your favorite? Well, what mood are you in?
Yeah.
I like Fruit Loops and I like Indian food. But do I want them together?
Years.
Do I have to choose them? No, I don't want to have to.
It only took you 40 years, Stephen. But welcome to Doctor Who.
Exactly. That's what I love about
Why
the
isn't
show.
it always about dialects, man?
What I love about this show. It's this is why I don't like ranking episodes anymore because they're just like they're so different. They each do different things. It is an anthology show, let's face it, at its heart. This is probably the most anthology
Well,
of anthologies.
ranking things is a fan thing to do.
Yeah, I know.
Just like I saw somebody dissing lore, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Lore is kind of dumb when you get right down to it.
Like not the character from
As in
Next
Data's
Generation,
brother?
But,
No, well, he's kind of annoying too, but but no, just lore being a substitute for a story,
yeah,
Oh.
absolutely.
which again, Doctor Who is guilty of sometimes, but not as often as the other ones.
Not nearly as much as you would expect it to be for a 60-year-old show.
Yeah, which could
you know?
just rest on its laurels, and when it does to its peril.
It does a little bit. It does. Yeah. I mean, we haven't really, we had mention of Time Lords at the very beginning. Here's who I am, and there's no more of them, and we haven't seen them or heard from them again, and I'm okay with that. I'm
that's
okay
fine.
for the Time Lords to stay away for quite a while.
We don't need the color Jedis.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after the vomitous info dump at the start of Space Babies.
Yeah,
we have,
just like-
we have nothing.
Here I am. This is it.
Since
Another thing I'd like to Madeline K says props to Murray Gold for that arrangement on the Doctor's theme in the final scene, which I didn't notice the first time,
Yeah.
but I did notice the second time that
Yeah.
it really, really works. That
I
it's
did
this
notice
triumphant theme that is then oppressive,
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
It was good. Well done, Mary Gold.
the only I can't remember where. I think it was when she was walking the streets. I can't remember if it was before or after meeting Ricky September, but the only music that caught my attention was there's Lindy was walking down the street, and there's this like a jaunty little tune that quickly turned like very, very dour and dark. And I just can't remember exactly where it was though.
I don't know either. Do you have a favorite of the season, Chris? This for me, boom for Warren. You don't have to pick favorites, as we just went through. We went through a whole thing about not having to pick favorites, but you
far?
have to pick one. Yes. So far.
Well, we are fans after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boom, I think would have to be my pick at this point.
And that's my Moffat bias shining through too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. I just think it was a little more solid, a little more complete of a story.
Right.
Because as we talked about last week, 73 yards. There's a whole lot of stuff that does not get brought up, does not get answered.
Yeah. Kind of here too, actually. To be fair, like
Oh,
the
absolutely
slugs,
here.
But like it feels like
the slugs, the homeworld, the kids,
Yeah.
the B arc, there's definitely a lot of stuff.
It's
how
unanswered.
how they even she says we work for 2 hours a day, then we party the rest of the time, kind of thing. So is it all virtual partying?
Gotta
I
be.
assume so.
they've never
Zoom
they've never
cocktails.
hugged.
I assume so,
Nightmare.
given they never hug. And,
never
you know.
hug.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be
But-
like being in the pandemic the whole time.
Actually, to that end, so at the end of the episode, so
Right.
when Lindy and what's her name, Shooty,
The two.
Shooty Pie.
The
whatever.
hat lady and the toque guy.
The
Hoochie Pie.
Well, no,
Yeah.
just the trumpet girl, woman.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean.
Anyway, because I closed my notes and it had her name on there, and I've forgotten it already.
That's fine.
Anyway, if they have only ever had virtual interactions,
Right.
then when they first, number one, they must live not that far from each other if they go to the same.
True. Yeah, they're all in that same area.
Right.
And number two, you'd think they'd make more of a big deal about the first time they meet in real life.
Well, they're also under a crisis.
Yeah,
that
I do
they're
like
dealing
that. So this might be the best day of my life, and then Ricky September says, "Yeah, thousands of people are being eaten," and
Yeah.
putting it into perspective. But she has those perspectives. It's all bubble.
with. Yeah, which is the point, I
Yeah.
suppose.
It's all bubble. All right, was that it? Is that are we
so.
putting the rest to bed? I mean, the episode was finished minutes ago on my, which is my informal
I had a thought, but it's
counter.
gone now. Oh well.
Oh,
At least amongst the three of us, much less divisive than last week's.
Yes, that's
I
true.
dare say.
yeah, I think so. You'll notice that we're not even doing stats anymore because stats are irrelevant. Let's face it. But it's still for
I
the
was
red.
right the whole time.
Yeah, for the red tops in the UK, they're still trying to use it as a cudgel to bow.
Red tops, please explain, or maybe don't explain that term.
Red tops, tabloids.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Red,
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
I call them the red tops. Because anything to beat woke Doctor Who is going to be the thing to do. you see. So we're not even paying attention to it. So it does not matter.
One thing I'll give YouTube's algorithm, I see very little after seeing a bunch of it of the woke Doctor Who idiot yelling.
Yeah.
That does not pierce my bubble, so I'm glad for that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's probably out there.
I'm sure it is.
We're not going to pay it any mind here. That's
No.
for damn
No, we won't. But my Google alerts, sorry, Warren, are chock full of trash like that.
sure.
Yes, I know. A few of them leaked out to our text chain, and
Yeah, I
which I do not forgive you for.
Oh, yeah.
You don't
Pete
have to
Hewitt
share it
says
with
Warren
us.
was right the whole time. I'm not sure what I was right about,
Yeah.
but I'll take it.
Yep, he will take it. Anything else before we move on to the rest of the Doctor Who news to talk about? You good? You all dot and bubbled out?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Next
we have-
week,
we-
Regency
we
stuff.
have a
Yeah.
we have a yes. Warren was right.
I'm not. I don't know about what. I mean,
you know what?
sure, but
I agree with you. Warren was right.
Warren
actually.
was right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Warren was
I
right.
agree.
maybe they're agreeing with my T-shirt.
Good job, Warren. Good job, Warren, on being right. for
Thank
this
you.
one. Other thing. On to other news then. There is an Indiegogo for Go Figure, a visual guide to character options Doctor Who action dolls that launched earlier this week. It is already funded.
That is not their official title, I'm sure, but I appreciate it.
No, it is. Go Figure. A visual. That is literally what it is.
No, well, not
called.
the action dollies, I'm sure.
No, that has been added by us. But it looks great. It's this is like they posted, of course, mock-ups of what it will look like and everything like that, with the whole catalog of action dollies. And like, it's really good. I'm so glad it's already funded. But you can get like stretch goals and stuff. Links in the show notes. Gary Russell's part of it, Gareth Kavanaugh, and others.
As we record this, it's 28,000 and change Canadian, 147 backers. That's like almost $200 per backer on average.
That's pretty awesome.
As a
That's
dollyist,
a
I
good chunk.
feel I haven't done it yet, but I feel duty bound to contribute to this. But then there's the shipping fees, which are god awful.
It's pretty bad. It could be pretty bad from
Yeah.
the yeah.
Well,
I'm almost want to get it and have somebody I know bring it to galley.
what does it say here? Softback is 30 pounds, hardback 50 pounds.
So I'd get softback, but
Not
yeah,
Oh,
counting,
that not including
counting,
shipping,
not
yeah.
counting shipping.
yeah, I'm probably paying $100 for this thing. Is what it boils down to.
Ah, well,
Which
Mint on
there are
card
worse things to pay
tier,
$100 for.
£200.
But
for a good cause, for
Yeah.
for a good cause. Yeah. Anyway, so well done in hitting your stretch goals already. I mean the main goal, and good luck on the stretch goals, because that is certainly a project that is up our alley. Also in that vein, there.
Stephen Catnip is what I'm calling.
Yeah,
this.
well, this is Stephen Catnip.
that's what I
Terry
mean.
Nation Army had another video out, which is about 6-minute little short video called "Every Mistaken Planet of Decision." That being part 6 of The Chase. Most of which, I think, all of them have been removed from the Blu-ray for season 2. All the many technical screw-ups that Richard Martin let through in the making of that episode. The episodes 5 and 6. No, is it 4? 4 is the most shoddily directed episode of Doctor Who in history of The Chase, the haunted house.
you have mentioned this from time to time.
And episode 6
And
is,
it's amazing how Stephen can let it go.
oh, it's just amazing. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating that from one week you get the next week you get Douglas Camfield directing to perfection in The Time Meddler. And then you just see complete amateur hour on The Chase. It's just like, bless Richard Martin, but man, like not just, sometimes directing is an artistic thing, and also it's just like getting it technically correct.
Yeah, it's logistics, a lot of it.
Yeah, and the logistics failed. I mean, the famous Zarby running into the camera in the Wet Planet is
My
Richard
my
Martin
take on
joint.
the mechanoid is that
Right.
A, is that thing full of jet fuel because it's spewing out fire, and B, it's really poorly designed because it has to get real close to that Dalek to set fire its way.
That's true, or grab onto it, or light Verity Lambert's cigarette as well.
Well, which is its main function. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. If you're in New Zealand, you
Please
talk like
stop that
this.
immediately.
No, but the Doctor Who Worlds of Wonder, where science
Worlds
meets
of Wonder?
fiction, the move is in New Zealand. It's opened up new. Sorry, New Zealand.
You're not
You
that
did make
sorry.
In Wellington?
You did make one of the greatest film trilogies of
Point
all
out,
time.
I'm not doing any of this.
Yeah, Warren is right on this one. But yeah, it's Doctor Who
true.
exhibit with a bunch of Daleks and stuff. Listen, they posted the article for this in November on the Doctor Who website, but it's finally opening now. TARDIS tweeted that the BBC Instagram account tweeted, bluted, I believe, that the
Blurped.
TARDIS is
They truthed it.
Yeah,
They're only
yeah.
on True Social for some reason.
in New Zealand now. So if you're in New Zealand, you can see that from June 1st until sometime in October or November, I think it is. So enjoy that. These things never come to Canada. So
I'm so glad we got to see the experience.
right, Warren? Like, man. Yeah, we still had to go to England to do it. So
With my boy K1, the giant robot.
yeah, good old K1. K1 robot. A couple of big Finnish things to talk about. The final to date story in the Christopher Eccleston Ninth Doctor audio dramas is out now. Star-Crossed, the last of the season 3,
Based on the
Eccleston.
Starlost.
Star-Crossed, based on the novelization
Of the Starlost.
parody of the
Yes,
Starlost.
by Ben Bova.
Is,
Romana Clef, as it were.
yeah, is out now. Yeah, Eccleston.
By the way, Is It Camp fans? Tomorrow I'm recording an episode about the Starlost for Is It Camp, which will come out on
Ooh.
July 6th, I believe, and as a tribute to Canada Day because it's a Canadian TV show. So those many Starlost fans amongst you, the two of me and Stephen right here, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm doing it. So anyway, there's your heads up.
Coming out July 6th, so after the UK election and before the Trump sentencing. What a start to the month.
The most important part of any of that, obviously.
Right? Exactly. Also coming from Big Finish in August of 2024, The Trials of a Time Lord, Sixth Doctor Adventures coming as well. So there we go. That's
Some
happening.
proper Cybermen in the background there.
Actual proper 80s Cybermen. Still the... You know what's funny? When they were with the bowl... the sort of the mock-up of the bubble. It was basically just a half bowl with squares painted on it. And Stefan Powell talked into it for briefly, and he sounded like David Banks. I thought, yeah, I want to talk into a bowl and sound like David Banks and Simon. Excellent, Doctor. That's the first thing I thought
That's
of.
a pretty good David Banks. I may have said that before.
Well, you know what? David Banks said that I had a good David Banks. So.
Well, that's the authority, I would assume.
That was one of my proudest moments.
And the universe imploded afterward.
When I met David Banks at Gallifrey 1 that one year. Interviewed him, and he was also on our live show that 1 year as well.
Hey, he insulted me, so I hate him.
That's true, he did. He called you short, I think. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Nobody asked David Banks. Go to hell, Cyber Leader.
I got on
Why,
with him.
why don't you go off and enjoy a well-prepared meal?
No, you can't, can you? Here's some
Yeah.
gold in your chest. Sir,
Right.
stop that.
Shove
No, I
that
got
into
gold in your chest. What do you think of that?
Dang you idiot. Also,
I
there,
just hit his knee because he's so
Yeah.
tall and I'm so short.
it's links in the show notes, but Titan Comics has put out an official trailer for the very first official 15th Doctor comic book, which is coming out in July. I know they had a free comic book day version that came out as well before, but look at that. He's wearing his Tom Baker scarf.
I was thinking for all our decrying of living in
Yeah.
the past, the first thing that comes to my mind is he's wearing the Tom Baker scarf.
Yeah, but you know what? I could totally see him wearing a scarf like that.
You could pull it off. Him and Tom Baker.
He can pull off pretty much damn near everything. So that is pretty cool. All right, kids. That's it. Next week, Doctor Who is back in a big way. Everyone. It's the Regency episode, Rogue. Join us for our live review at the same time, June 8th, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in the UK time. I'm sorry, I don't know what time that is in Australia. 2 a.m. I think it is in Sydney at the very least.
Once again, I hope there's no explanation for those costumes whatsoever, other than them being in the time period.
They
They don't show any preparation. They just walk in one door, out the other. I love that they did that.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll see the inside of the TARDIS next week.
Only to have them not show the transformation, other
Yeah.
than when one door, out the other.
I will think about this, but like this is apart from we saw it briefly when the doors opened, obviously, but that doesn't count. Because I often like to think when they did TARDIS scenes, and there's always been TARDIS scenes in the modern series. They always do them, but in the classic series, especially in the 70s, they barely went weeks without ever setting foot in the TARDIS. This is like one of the longest stretches in modern Who history.
What could it mean? Probably nothing.
What could it mean, Warren? Was the set? No, the set was built because they shot.
And it wasn't deteriorating
Starbase.
yet, like it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I know they had to do a bit of a refit.
Oh no, did Pertwee's set, that's not the reason why, but wasn't Pertwee's set not doing great either?
No,
Oh, okay.
pretty much. Anyway, on that note, we'll find a big rundown of TARDIS history scenes next week on Radio Free Skaro. Join us for that on the live stream and also on your podcast feed. So until next time, I'm Stephen in Edmonton.
Or in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
Alrighty.
There we go, kids. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to 3 middle-aged white dudes talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope you enjoyed the Doctor Who. Hope you enjoyed that Warren was right.
About stats. Which I've
Warren
always known.
has. I just got a notification. Warren
you,
has a copyrighted Slack-taters, so do do know that we are coming after you if you use that.
Absolutely, yes.
And on that note,
one last big thanks to Dan Peck for the episode title.
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
he was not even here, but
Still, that was
But
pretty
still,
great.
and
yeah.
I don't.
The episode title being White Mirror, by the way, in case.
Yeah, the live stream isn't aware of that.
Yeah, so
Yet.
that's what it's going to be called. So,
Yeah.
all right. Bye for now, live stream. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.